We are live. If you want to know what the next round of altcoins are, is a 10% pump too much? If you need to know this, you need to watch this video all the way through, because we're going to do the news you need, the news you the news you need, the charts you need, and that's what we're going to do today. Watch this all the way through. I'm your host, Bill Noble, and this is the Market Update. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live in the morning and in the evening. Just can't stop going live. And of course, it always helps if you hit the like button. Wow, they're hitting buttons over here. We got a lot of people hitting the YouTube member emojis. We will talk about that more soon. Okay, inflation. Does everybody remember that? Does anybody remember that? No, we don't. Basically, the numbers came out and everybody finally said, you know what? The numbers are fake. Or the numbers justify an idiotic policy from Powell, or both. I mean, literally, that number came out and the market started pumping immediately. I mean, the trueflation numbers aren't anywhere as near whatever the Bureau of Labor Statistics produced. I mean, trueflation showed the real number is 1.8%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics pointed it around 3. FAKE. Everything that comes from Uncle Sugar is fake. Now, speaking of fake, everybody was hysterical, including Powell, about tariff inflation. Guess what? No sign of it. If tariffs do anything, they blunt demand, which leads to lower prices. So everything that Powell's been telling you is fake. All these economic statistics are fake. And the market goes like this. You know what? Done. Done. I'm going to crypto. I'm taking ETH up 10%. I'm taking this entire complex up 10%. Oh my God. Where do you see this chart of altcoin market cap? Literally, it's mind-boggling. Meanwhile, the other incentive to get involved in crypto is what is happening to young people. Young people, unemployment is disastrous. They're living with their parents. Let me ask you something. If these kids get their hands on any money, what is their alternative? You know what their alternative is? To turn themselves into crypto traders and investors. Right? There has to be a wealth effect in this economy. Like, why do you think they want Powell to lower rates? Why? Okay, rates are lower. Well, okay, your credit card interest rate might go down. It might be easier to buy a car, but what they really need is they need speculative assets, especially crypto, higher. And even if the kids don't benefit directly, they'll want to get involved. Crypto is the best video game out there. It is. And you know what? A lot of short-term holders, according to Glassnode, are actually doing well. Everyone's like, oh, the short-term holders are going to get stopped out. Everyone's going to puke. Remember this crap? I mean, it was like 2 weeks ago. Literally, everyone's like, oh my God, everyone's going to sell. No, apparently not. Right? Like, you know, in Bitcoin, that floor was like 116. They went through it, scared everybody, and came back in. So Bitcoin is now comfortably sitting in the range where 6 to 7% of the total supply changed hands. So Bitcoin is in a comfort zone. And when that happens, what do you get? Everyone's like, well, I guess we have a supply shock in ETH. Well, I guess they bought it all for the ETF. I guess the stakers have put it all away. Gee, where's the supply? There isn't any. So as you want to talk about an annual range, I should pull up an annual chart. The low was the 2017 high at 1,400. Now it's at 4,800. And of course, it's much more attractive at this level. So you have, for the first time, $1 billion of inflow into the Ethereum ETF. And even though Ethereum looks amazing right now, I'm going to tell you what looks even better: the whole rest of the altcoin space. In other words, I can make you a chart that says, the FOMO in Ethereum is insane. It's not insane, but it's insane relative to the rest of altcoins. In other words, in the 6th Street Crypto podcast last night, right? Last night in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh my God, I got to get this out right now. What to buy on the dips, altcoin, August alt season, and everybody should be looking at the 10 to 20x coins. In other words, I know this is going to sound crazy, and maybe I don't look at the right research, but isn't it funny how everywhere you see, oh, Ethereum, oh, Bitcoin, why is nobody talking about where is the next 10x, the next 20x? I don't see a lot of those videos. Like, I watch trending YouTube videos. I don't see a lot of, oh, these are my 10x videos or my 20x videos. It's not there. It's not there. And of course, ETH is what ignites that, right? I mean, like, I know this is stupid, but like ChainLink up 10x. ChainLink's going to 100. Yesterday I said it was going to 50. Cancel that. It's going to 100. Right now it's at what? 20-something, 30-something? ChainLink's going to connect the whole world. Now, if some stodgy coin like ChainLink can do a 5x or a 4x, what can the rest of this market do? Holy goodness gracious. Again, and I may bring the total market cap chart of altcoins up early. I mean, look at this. The magazine by Cointelegraph. Look at this. How Ethereum treasury companies could spark DeFi Summer 2.0. I mean, can you believe this? DeFi Summer 2.0, when it was dead in the spring. Now, of course, if there is DeFi Summer 2.0, it has already started. Like Lido, which is like staking and DeFi on ETH, exploded. That had exploded before this last ETH explosion, up 10%. Vertical. And no one has touched Uniswap AAVE or any of this stuff that operates in the ETH universe. I mean, maybe they've touched it, but it certainly hasn't 5x. Or is anyone talking about anything in the ETH universe doing a 5x? What about Solana? Right? I mean, anybody talking about Jupiter? When was the last time you heard anyone talk about Jupiter? And everyone's like, yeah. I mean, I remember my old boss, we went to a football game and he was talking about his hedge fund. And he would say that with this hedge fund, he's got to make at least 10x. Like, that was the average return of the hedge fund back then. And he says, actually, if it's only a 10x on what's invested, he would be upset. That's what he said. And you know what? That was his game, and he was great at it. But why is no one talking about today? It's like, look at this. Circle unveils a layer 1, all right, and they report a $400 million loss. And that stock had 10x. The wrong things have 10x in this market. Now, of course, this market is now turning around. So if you are experiencing a thought in your head where it's like, I've missed this, get that thought out of your head. Because yes, Ethereum may have gone to 4,800. Ethereum might go to 5,000. But the whole rest of the ecosystem, frankly, has done nothing. Right? In other words, I saw my first article today about Pudgy Penguins, right? Like, ENA has also been, a big mover, but that's like it. Like, show me a chart of a coin that's gone absolutely vertical. It used to be that when ETH would go, they would all go. Not so. I mean, like I said, Wall Street firms are just now doing like a tokenized asset trade. And all these companies that do lending, well, okay, what are they going to do lending for? Like, what is there to borrow money for? more crypto purchases, right? I mean, that's not exactly what they do, but the liquid staking protocols, like, why would you need liquid staking? Well, duh, to go out and invest and buy more crypto. Like, seriously. And everybody is like, well, you know, the market's overbought. No. Like when Tom Lee said Ethereum's going to 15,000. Okay, well, that may be a nutso number for the short term or not. But everybody else is like, hey, if Ethereum is at 15,000, where's the rest of the market? Like I put this thing in last night. I'm doing this thing, you know, for this video that I was doing about for the Patreon Platinum group and for the Patreon 6th Street Crypto group. Like, where are all these altcoins if Bitcoin goes to $1 million? Like everyone says, oh, Bitcoin's going to $1 million coin. And even my group said that. You know, even Tobie said that. And I was like, okay, well, you know, if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, where are most $50 million altcoins trading? And even if Bitcoin goes to 250, because Brad Garlinghouse yesterday for XRP wasn't talking about XRP as usual, but he was like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to 250. Okay. Well, where's everything that's 50 million market cap? Where's that going? Okay. And I mean, of course, speaking of Toby Ward, I mean, how much clearer can we get? Get in, right? 21 hours ago, get in. That includes getting into the YouTube member area. And we did a massive AMA. AMA 20 hours ago was huge. And you know what it was about? Everyone was like, why is my coin not going up? And that's not what they said, but that was kind of implied. Like, you know, and I mean, of course, Tobie would say, you know, I came in with a list, you know, like Hyperliquid was there, you know, stuff that had outperformed and it's still going up, right? You would be like, oh yeah, you know, maybe this is soft to take price. No, the stuff is still going up. And she said, you know what? I like faster and newer. What's faster and newer? I don't know. Maybe you got to tune in and find out, for God's sakes, right? Listen to this. Treasury Secretary Bessent said, you know what? The Fed should be thinking about 50 basis points 2 days after he said, we're going huge in digital assets. We're going huge. What else do you need to know? Like, if the Fed doesn't cut 25 in September with no job growth and an actual rate of inflation below 2%, they're going to be outside the Fed protesting. Let's be polite, right? I mean, there's going to be no case for their existence as an institution if Truflation is reporting a 1.8% rate of inflation. And of course, like I said, ETH up 8%. Okay, that's pretty impressive. But, you know, ChainLink up 10%. Like, you know, just read it off. Like, you know, Solana up 10%. Well, it's about time. We've been screaming Solana for a week. But, you know, Sui up 6%. And all this underperforming stuff, you know, Cardano, Polkadot, Avalanche, folks, up 8%. I mean, we could go through chart after chart after chart. All of this stuff has done nothing for months. And in some cases, years. I mean, yeah, everybody had the big election blip. But if you take out the election blip, some of this stuff has done nothing for years. And it has functionality. In 2021, it was vaporware. And now, hey, we can do something with it. Like Wall Street just did its first transaction online with tokenized assets. You know, it's so funny. When it's vaporware, people are crazy for it. But when it actually does something and there's going to be real demand, like there's going to be real demand for Solana, real demand, right? DPIN, cell phones, just outright speculation, valuation way too cheap. Like, how long do you think it's going to take to get Solana into an ETF? How long do you think it's going to take, right, before everybody in equities starts screaming for it, literally screaming for it? You got about 10 stocks over there that you can invest in, and you got no material upside, right? Like what? NVIDIA is going to go up 10% in one day. NVIDIA is going to double the way ETH did. No, absolutely not. Like one of Tobie's classic axioms is, where are you going to go to get the kind of returns that you can get in crypto? I mean, 10% in a day, 10% is a good year for a stock. And she's been telling people, dude, get off stocks. She tells her friends this, get off stocks. And how long do you think it's going to take people in stocks to go, oh, wow, look at this Ethereum trade. What else we got in there? They're going to hit their Coinbase account, and they're going to see Solana below 200. They're going to see Solana, the optics of Solana at 200 with Ethereum at 4,000 something. And they're going to be like, oh, gee, I think we should buy some Solana. I mean, honestly, right now, Solana's valuation is a joke, right? It's a joke. It's at 100 billion. It's at 100 billion. Do you realize it would have to rally 94 billion? Solana market cap would have to expand $94 billion to get to XRP. Solana, to get to Ethereum, would have to basically 5x just to get to where Ethereum is. I mean, not that there's obviously something wrong with Ethereum, but, you know, if you start thinking about the optics of this, like here comes the optics. Like, this is the one chart market update. Like, for anyone's new to the market update, we have this joke, right? What's the one chart market update? This is it right here. Okay. So this is total 3. Total 3 is crypto market cap outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, of course, Bitcoin moved, and then ETH smoked higher. But what about the rest of it? Well, here you go. You have a head and shoulders bottom. You have this odd upward sloping neckline. Okay, very strange. And hopefully, you know, normally you love to see it break out and just never touch it again. But of course, they had to ram it down, make the pattern look invalid, but they sold it right into a LuxAlgo support shelf. Then it goes back above the neckline. So not exactly textbook, but check this out. In order for this target to like complete itself, total altcoin market cap would not only have to make a new high above where it was in December of 2024, okay? In order to do that, total altcoin market cap would have to go up $250 billion. And you're sitting there going, oh, that's nice. That's nice. You know, okay. That's a good, you know, like what does that number mean? Okay, well, let me tell you what that number means. Okay, right now, the total market cap of XRP, just XRP, is 193 billion. So how much market cap is $250 billion? It's freaking massive. It's massive, right? It is like a gigantic move. So that means every big coin has to smoke higher. Like, and I'm talking about like a 5x. Like, you know, no one's talking about 5x's and 10x's in small coins. Well, no one's talking about 5x's in big coins. Like, why can't Dogecoin go up? Seems like Elon Musk is on Twitter talking about everything except what he should be talking about. That's what he got famous for originally, right? Electric cars and Doge. Doge has to smoke higher. Tron, ChainLink, Hyperliquid, and then these American-made cryptos are just like, they're nowhere on the market cap chart. Hedera just really crossed 10 billion. I mean, Hedera could 5x, right? Sui should be at $10. It's now at $3.88. And I mean, this is like common sense. I mean, Uniswap, with all the trading that's going to be going on these DEXs. I mean, I know Base wants to get involved. Polkadot used to be something that would smoke higher when ETH would go up. It used to be one of the key components of the ETH trade, because Polkadot essentially can, you know, I don't know, for lack of a better term, can actually spread out and be like this blockchain of blockchains of blockchains. No one's talking about this. Yet Wall Street is here doing things, and the harder this goes up, the more they're going to have to get involved. Have to, meaning like, if you don't do it, you lose your job. PEPE is at 5 billion. Remember this meme mania? Like when people were insane and talking about meme super cycles and, you know, putting memes in an ETF, and, you know, memes were taking over the world. Where is all of that? Where are these guys? They're not there yet, right? But wait until these kids who are sitting at home start going, well, I don't know if I understand Ethereum, but I understand a frog coin. I understand a dog with a knit hat. I understand all of that. That stuff's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, ironically, like PEPE is leveraged ETH. You would think PEPE would be moving before ETH. Not so. That means the PEPE catch-up rally could be epic. And, you know, I keep using PEPE, but I'm sure there's examples beyond that. Like, you know, anything that's an ETH meme coin. Like, what about MOG? Like, what about all this stuff? Oh, everything's up, but ETH is up more than all this stuff. Like, altcoins as a universe haven't really gone up. Like, Arrow's moved because that's ETH DeFi connected to Coinbase. Okay, well, does anybody remember back in the day when, you know, when Arrow would move, the entire ecosystem could move? You know, like, I know guys in Patreon that are into like deep, you know, they're into deep, super, all these coins, you know, they're not up 10% today. They should be, but they're not. Now, ChainLink is up 12% almost, and that makes sense. And I know I just said this, but I can say it again. ChainLink is telling you where this whole ecosystem is going. It's telling you that. Now, let's go to some TA, which I think drives home the point. So this is ETH. Seems an appropriate day to do TA on ETH. So you have a 13 top. No one cares. You have the ensuing 9 top. People might care. But as everyone leaves to go on vacation, you have to ask yourself, if ETH stops, what's next? Well, I mean, it seems obvious, you know, like Solana. So Solana is doing its sort of sideways 13 top. And I ask you this, what happens if Solana just kind of hangs out and goes anyway, which is what ETH did, right? ETH is like, oh, nice, 13 top, boom. I mean, like if you zoom out on Solana, Solana has done nothing, has done absolutely nothing. And of course, if you want to make a point on ETH, right? So ETH versus Bitcoin has got the 13 and the 9 top all on the same candle. So you got to expect 2 things from this. One, ETH slows down and Bitcoin catches up, right? Even though Bitcoin kind of has that 13 and the 9 top. So what's next? If it's not Bitcoin and it's not Ethereum, could it be XRP? Like, no sign of any topping signal. None. You know, theoretically, 250 was possible, but why? How is XRP going to go to 250 when XRP's market cap is 194 billion and ETH market cap is 550. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I do have a word on privacy. Top performing coins with lead social activity. Cardano, number 3. ChainLink, top of the list. Algorand. Some of these stuffs I know, like Cubic, which we're going to talk about. Huma Finance. Now, meanwhile, a serious note for humanity. Somebody is trying to do, this Cubic group is trying to do a 51% attack. Basically, they're trying to get control of the Monero blockchain. And Monero has done nothing but go down, since this Tornado Cash verdict, where they kind of like smacked the idea of privacy in the mouth. Meanwhile, Skynet is here with AI systems ignoring commands to shut down. And just to make it real cheery, okay, Peter Thiel, also known as the devil, just jumped into crypto. So if you don't do crypto, you don't do privacy, antivirus at like 3 million market cap comes to mind, right? They're attacking your rights everywhere. And like I said, if there's a serious note on crypto on pump day, if you're not doing crypto, if you're not out there looking for the next 10x, if you're not out there looking for the next big thing to protect yourself from these Web 2 characters, which are frankly being dragged through the mud, you know, by a guy I'm sure you've already heard about. But, you know, the biggest reason to be in crypto is self-sovereignty on a serious note, right? And Tobie will tell you, you know, by 2050, you're going to need it. And she also told you, which wound up to be dead spot on, you could make a list of all the cryptos that there are and just throw a dart at the dartboard and hit a crypto that's going to go up. You know, prepare now. Altcoins for August. Get in. Because if you don't, Peter Thiel will. And I can tell you right now, like I've been listening to some of this geopolitical stuff, which we can't say one single word about if we want to keep our channel. But these guys that run Web 2, these guys who run the sovereign institutions, no bueno. No bueno. They are not on your side. They are not. Okay. So we got to take matters into our own hands. And how do you do that? Well, you get your hands on all the crypto that you can. All the crypto that you can, including some of this insanely undervalued stuff, which ironically could be in the meme coin universe. It's definitely in the antivirus universe because the project is in privacy and intact. The small privacy project is flying underneath the radar as they try to get the Tornado Cash guy. You know, supposedly he's going to be in court for years. They tried to get him on some big charge, and the jury couldn't agree on anything. So I don't know where that leaves him. I know he's doing 3 years over this thing where, you know, I don't know. He wrote a program, and then they charged him with, you know, something like you created an illegal money transmission device. Okay, well, I'm glad it was only a lesser charge, you know, lesser charge. Just a moment of editorial on this. You know, my brother is a lawyer, and he said everybody likes to talk a big game until you're walking into a courthouse. You're walking through a metal detector with 8 state troopers around the front entrance. Then you got to go in a courtroom where a jury and a guy in a black robe stands up there, and your fate rests in these people's hands. Right? And then there's the idea of going to jail for 3 years. That's a long time for a guy who wrote a computer program. So, okay. So BlackRock's got Bitcoin and BlackRock's pumped Ethereum, but there are other reasons for crypto. Like, for example, BlackRock doesn't want to do the XRP ETF. Good. They'll be in love with it at $7. Just like Solana, right? There's no Solana ETF. I mean, Solana at $500 will be a benchmark blue chip add-on for people in equities. But crypto people don't want it at 175. Are you seeing the lunacy of this? Like, in some ways, this is the opposite of 2021. In 2021, we had a Fed that was printing money and everybody who was buying vaporware. Now, in this case, we have a Fed who is wrong. There is a liquidity tidal wave eventually coming, because if the Fed doesn't, Bessent will. And we're all ignoring what these things actually do. Meanwhile, in the charts stink. Like, again, yeah, you just bring up Solana. You know, you bring up Solana, you know, not to go nuts with this point, but is that a rounding bottom? Kind of looks like it. I mean, is it a teacup and handle? I mean, normally the teacup part, the handle, is a nightmare. I would say this qualifies as a nightmare, right? Breaking out, this is going 9 down days. Got everybody out. Got Arthur Hayes selling. Everybody hated. Got me bearish. Oh my God. Classic. It's all this stuff is classic. You know, Solana could double. Solana could double. Is there even a new? I mean, obviously ETH is getting headlines. I mean, I get it. But is there even one headline about Solana? So let's review. No one's talking about Solana. No one's talking about memes. The memes that should be leading as leverage plays have done absolutely nothing. Solana is still below 200. XRP got smacked because of internal selling and came back and is strong like bull above $3. $3 used to be like, oh my God, are we ever going to see $3 again in this lifetime? You know, I know it's crazy because he went crazy, but there was a time when Ben Armstrong said that XRP would be the biggest coin in the next cycle. And I think everyone laughed at him. It quietly, right? Because he was, you know, XRP. XRP went from $0 to $3 and came all the way back down again. And these people were miserable. Could XRP be the biggest coin in this cycle? Like Bitcoin, Ethereum have done their thing. You know, could XRP double? Like maybe not tomorrow, maybe not this week, but who's talking about that happening? Nobody. Nobody. And you know what? That's the perfect time to talk about these things, when nobody is talking about it. Okay, so free speech says, you know, Peter T has deep ties to XRP and Ripple. Okay. And this is DYOR. Right? In other words, you know, Ripple better get itself IPO'd or get itself taken over, hopefully by not that character, hopefully by somebody else. Because I will tell you right now, every single person listening to me, every single person listening to Altcoin Daily, AJ Writes Crypto, Wendy O, all of these guys, every single person has to get involved in crypto. as their way of giving the bird to all these other characters. Because all these other characters, I don't even know what word I can use on this platform to describe what they think of you. Seriously. I mean, seriously, I cannot figure out a word. All I know is if everyone is in the decentralized universe, Web 2 and Wall Street cannot stop you. And that's the biggest reason to be, empowered in crypto. They can't stop it. They can't stop this stuff from being utilized. They can't stop it from disrupting whatever it is that they do. They can't, because the cat's out of the bag, right? They're like, well, we'll get involved with the BlackRock ETF. And then we'll do some IPOs, do a couple IPOs. Yeah, bro. And what happens when Coinbase connects Base to its main interface? What happens when they come in and they start doing treasury trades, treasury bond trades, or actually just flat out lending? I mean, you realize, again, we talked about some of this stuff. Like the one I like to use is Clearpool, mainly because I kind of know Just Dario on Twitter. But Clearpool is lending. Like there is actually a mechanism inside of the real world asset system that could completely disrupt banks. And like, look at the chart. I mean, people are like, I missed it. What exactly have you missed? You haven't missed anything. This hasn't even gotten started yet. And the thing that's unbelievable, and I know I've said this 3 days in a row, but Wall Street and Europe are at the beach. They are on vacation and the bus is leaving without them. I mean, the market's closed. The market is already onto a new day. And some of these coins are up like 1% to 2% already. Right? And I mean, as the market gets thinner and thinner and thinner, like I know the video, if somebody would watch the video, I would appreciate it. But if you think about it, I did a video on the website for free, right? Just simply calling it Top Coins for August. There's me with my head buried in the sand, above the sand, because I'm fine. I can go on vacation because I got Patreon and everybody loaded up to the gills, even with a portfolio asset allocation strategy. Even though this is not investment advice, it's an opinion show. Just absolutely loaded up. Like everybody, their bags are packed, absolutely packed. These guys who were super chatting on this show yesterday, their bags are packed. So what does it mean for you? So it's like, all right, Bill, shut up. My bags are not packed. Okay, dude, find something and get it. I mean, sometimes I see the big characters like 10 coins that are going to do really well. You know what they do? They go to Coin Market Cap and they read the 10 biggest coins that are there. 1 million followers, 70,000 views. Okay. Well, I tried it. I do better live. By the way, speaking of this, we're live at 7 a.m. every morning at the YouTube Shorts feed. So this is horizontal. That's the vertical show. Okay. And Joe Hackman says, he trusts this show more than any other YouTube show. Look, man, there's a lot of smart people out there. There's a lot of smart people out there, right? Like I've met a lot of them, right? Like Altcoin Daily, Sharp, Wendy O, like I went to a karate combat fight and, she was dressed in pink. But you listen to Wendy O and you watch her sitting on her couch making video after video after video. So there's some people out there who are smart and there's some people who work incredibly hard. Then again, if you listen to some guy with 1 million followers who's like, well, the top news today is that Ethereum went up. Isn't that great? And I'm like, wow, this guy has 1 million followers. Oh, okay, he does. Right. But where are you going to get research? That's all I keep saying. Like, Okay, the market's up. ETH is at 4,800. Maybe it's topping out. Okay, where's the research? Right here. Right here. Because, you know, Toby Ward, in addition to doing AMA, you know, the way this show works is, you know, I come to the show with stuff from the Gann model. So Toby calls it my book report. I come with a book report of things to talk about, coins to talk about, and then she tells me what she thinks of those coins. So I come with 15 coins. She narrows that down to 5, and then we go through banter bubbles and give you live picks in the small coin sector, because to come full circle, that's where the 10Xs is. That's where the 20Xs are. I mean, when was the last time anyone talked to you about a cross-chain or DeFi project that had a 30 million market cap? We have been looking at, of course, they're not at 30 million now, but I mean, you know, the entire decentralized world had like a 30 million market cap. Some guy this morning on the show said, "Hey man, what's your best program? What's your best 50 million market cap chart?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know, dude. We've been talking about it for 3 days, 3 weeks. We started the YouTube member area. You know, literally, it's coming up on the 1-year anniversary. Bro, we got what you need, right? And you got to go get it now. Because if you don't, Peter Thiel and the rest of these guys with fangs, you know, they're coming too." Like, here's a great example. You know, we're reporting on, you know, AI that won't shut itself down. So we're always talking about the negative. We can't be look at PAAL, right? This is an AI agent marketplace. Okay. Now, every single AI coin is not going to make it. But if you look at like Fetch, like artificial super intelligence, no interest, right? Big Rich and a lot of these guys who are like one-man hedge funds inside Patreon, which, by the way, you know, is a selling point of Patreon, right? They pay me to help other people in the group. Like, what really has happened in TAO? This is another big AI coin. Like, TAO was actually doing better before Memorial Day. That was late May for anyone not in the United States. And then this could just, I mean, this could just go, right? Like, what stopped ETH? Nothing. Like, if I had said to you 2 months ago, ETH's going to 5,000, you would have said I was out of my mind, right? Tom Lee told you where ETH was going. ETH's going to 15,000. And as usual, everyone laughed at him. I mean, that's what Tom Lee is great at, by the way. Tom Lee is a genius at coming up with upside targets, getting laughed at, only to see it happen. He did it with Bitcoin. I've told the story a million times about how, you know, he said Bitcoin was going to 15,000. It went to 3,000. Everyone laughed. Then it turned around and went to 15,000. Like that. Right now he's like, "Oh yeah, ETH's going to 15,000. Oh, no, it's not. It's a top. All the ETH treasury companies are stupid." Yeah, I thought that for 2 days. Now they all look like geniuses because they all bought it below 3,000. Now they're just sitting pretty because, you know, if you zoom out on ETH, you know, some of the tactical stuff, you know, kind of points to, you know, some type of pause, which again, when Bitcoin paused, what happened to ETH? It totally exploded. It exploded, right? And are you telling me, I mean, when you look at this, I mean, this frankly is more frightening in terms of what it could do than that total altcoin market cap chart. I mean, this is the last 4 years in ETH. ETH has done nothing but frustrate people for 4 years. So it's all the way up, all the way down, nothing. All the way up, nothing. Oh, it's going to break out. It's going to zero. Vertical. I mean, this is just, I mean, and if you do this, and if you just do some basic triangle stuff, right? You know, like everyone's like, oh, I need to be a master of technical analysis. Not really, man. Not really. You know, the minimum target on ETH from this formation is like 6,000. And is that really stupid? I mean, especially when you zoom out on things like Bitcoin, like, you know, this is like Bitcoin weekly. I mean, this is just, you know, I think people have forgotten this. This is the 2017 high. I'm sorry. The 2021 high in Bitcoin was 69K. That's like a joke. I mean, they smashed it to 77 on this like tariff hysteria, but they never got anywhere near this. Optically, everyone's like, oh, the Ethereum all-time high. Okay, yeah, the Ethereum all-time high. I mean, Bitcoin is way beyond that, to the point where 70K was a joke. I remember it was like, oh my God, we're at the all-time high. We're at 70K. Wow. I never thought we'd be back here again. And meanwhile, ETH is like, okay, yeah, we just got here. We just got here. And that's what I'm talking about the whole rest of the space. And you do not have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. People are going to go on Coinbase and they're going to see like, oh, look, XRP, $3. Boop. Oh, look, Cardano below $1. Boop. They're not going to know they don't know what they're doing. You know, they don't know the fundamentals of some of these coins. You know, and even though one character talked about, you know, XRP and what characters are involved, that company is a takeover target. Now, hopefully it gets taken over by an altruistic entity, but it's still a takeover target. And I got news for you, man. And it may not just be XRP. Like there's all these companies trying to IPO, right? And that is not as cringy as it was. Even though, you know, they're obviously late to the game. There's really only been 3 IPOs. But what happens if crypto projects start IPOing? In other words, if you have a coin that's owned by World Liberty, you've got automatic access to Wall Street. And the thing that's so unbelievable is that you realize that the U.S. administration has not gotten involved yet. Like they were like, yeah, well, we can let it in 401ks. And, you know, yeah, we might give the American-made cryptos favorable tax treatment. We'll do the stablecoin law, but they haven't really done anything. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they get favorable tax treatment going on for these American-made cryptos? Because I keep going and I keep saying to myself, what are they going to do about unemployment for young kids? What are they going to do about unemployment for computer programmers? I mean, there is plenty of evidence that this administration doesn't care about anything, and the whole red hat thing was fake. You know, so you can't say it's definitely going to happen. But if they're pouring billions into AI and they want to win the next election, how do they stop all these young kids from, you know, their needle would fly over to the left? How are they going to stop that? This is the left. How would they do that? Well, how about getting them jobs in crypto companies? You realize only 18% of crypto projects actually make money? Well, how about we change the tax treatment on all this stuff? How about it? How about we start getting pumped up about people getting jobs inside of crypto, building something, using something that's not vaporware, or having Wall Street firms hire massive numbers of crypto people because they're going to have their whole business ported over to crypto, or guess what? They're going away. They're going away. So other than that, I really don't have anything to say about crypto. I don't have anything to say. I always have plenty to say. That's why we have 2 live streams a day. You know, we have it horizontal and vertical. We can't stop talking about crypto, doing TA about crypto. We just can't stop ourselves. Okay. Let's welcome who's here. Right. Before I you know, before I run out of things to say, which is unlikely. Mateo, first on the stream, a new member. What's up? Charlie, the positive cat from the antivirus universe. You're never going to get me off that, by the way. That's how I'm going to get big one day. It's going to be when that whole privacy McAfee thing goes vertical. Daniel J, what's up? Your Bass, what's up? What's up? Ben, Wavy Gravy, hello. User 9i, Mossman, some new names here. K-Dub, did you meme? Stay noble, bro. Love it. I'm not Bruce or Cliff. VP, what's up? Suncatcher Hawaii. By the way, if you have the $4 membership, you can get the use of all kinds of great memes, including the the blue liquid meme, because we have something called Crypto Happy Hour last night, where we give you everything in party style. People love it. People dig it. TC Crypto, what's up? VP, Philip, RNR, Silas, Free Speech, 0291. Right. Reminding us about Peter and his deep ties to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hey, crypto people, let's get going on crypto, because they're going to get going on crypto at some point. Joe Hackman, Big Rich, the king, right? The king of the show, along with Grandpa Keeter, who is not here today, right? Billy will get to 1 million followers. Dude, let's hope so. Because you know what? I could talk to 1 million people. If I went to a crypto conference and you handed me the microphone, I could stand up and talk right there about whatever they wanted to hear about. Marcos, welcome to the show. Caroline Storyteller, you're never too late. You're never too early. You're right on time. Marcos reminding you to hit the like button. We got the 200 likes once. The only thing better than getting the 200 likes once is getting the 200 likes twice. Steven is here. Dude, I'm glad you have your own show. Yeah. Low caps are going to go crazy. Welcome to the Superverse. Oh my God, I can't believe how much I love that term. What? And Charlie the Positive Cat says, we will just sit here and tell you I told you so. Because again, they've taken privacy. I don't know if I can. Okay, here we go. This is privacy, right? They've rolled down the window on an 85-mile-an-hour Texas highway, and they've gone, whoop. I don't want it. Done. I'll leave it there for the next 20 cars to run over. Crazy. Everyone's like, oh my God, I missed out. I mean, you know what? In 2021, people missed out on that because it moved so fast. One guy came on and said, I can't wait for the bear market so I can buy. And later on in a bar, me and this one guy he was like a quant economics guy. And so he'd been around, right? And we both said to each other, after it was just like a week after that webinar, we were like, dude, you do not want to wish for the bear market. You guys have been living in the bear market. This whole, except, we had these like double spikes, right? It was like, okay, let's all have a Merry Christmas. Let's have a spike in, say, late 2023, I believe. Right. And then let's have another spike on the orange band. Everything else has been bear market because that was all the way up, all the way down. Stop. So all the way up, get trapped, get hosed, sit there for a year, then all the way up, all the way down. sit there for 6 months. So if you bought the top, you got hosed. If you bought it on the way down, you got hosed. If you didn't buy it and take profits quick, and how many people did that? Right? Like maybe Big Rich. Who else did that? Nobody. Nobody. Everyone is like invested, waiting for their bags to go up. Dude, it's been a bear market for 2 years. And all you've gotten are these blips. I mean, they were big blips, but how many people really made money on those blips? Like, okay, yeah, maybe that first Solana meme run was life-changing money. You haven't seen any of that yet. And I think psychologically, we're still in the bear market. Really. I look at Clearpool. I mean, I know I'm always talking about Clearpool, but look at some of these coins. Just scroll down coin market cap. Just scroll down to like 50, 100. I mean, you realize you can go to CoinGecko, and read 300 coins. None of these coins have moved. And Wendy O will tell you that. She's like, no coins have moved underneath a certain market cap. And I don't know what signal everyone needs. Like, Bitcoin explodes. Ethereum, vertical. What people are waiting for is to get over their fear of the bear market. And I don't think that has not happened at all. At all. Not even a little. I mean, people were waiting for the orange man to moon their bags. Turned out the bad behavior on the part of Powell and, of course, sovereigns everywhere, right? Like there's stuff going on politically that's being exposed and they can't say one word about it. But it is mind-boggling, this sort of control patterns going on inside sovereign governments and institutions. I mean, every time I look at this, especially this one character who is just going like viral to the point it's unbelievable. What can you do when you hear these messages, when you hear this stuff that's being like exposed? Let's call it that. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to sit home and go, well, I'm mad. Okay, well, you can get mad or you can get involved in crypto, right? You can say, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not. And then the whole market looks cheap to you. It looks cheap. I mean, you don't have to worry about this market unless you have an absurd banana zone later in the year where it's crazy. Like everyone's talking about 250K Bitcoin. I don't know that you want 250K Bitcoin. I think you would want a market that's more orderly because, again, we're giving you Patreon Platinum. We're giving you the $25 VIP plan. We're giving you the $49 YouTube plan. And we're giving you a $4 thing where you can get some cool emojis and get, some priorities on some content or some questions. I mean, like I said, yesterday's podcast where we advertised AMA, we didn't even get to the podcast. Tobie's like, we got to do something about this. We got to do the podcast and then take the questions at the end. And this show was the same way. I got through a monologue. I don't know. I did like 10 minutes and people were like, I have 6 coins I want. Not going to stop. That's what you got to start telling yourself, right? Because, I mean, in the bear market, what would happen is all coins would go up 3 days. I know I showed the total free chart, but dude, they got to add $250 billion. You don't need a lesson in technical analysis. This little blip, right? Seriously. Okay. All right, people. That is it for the market update. I know you don't think you do, but you know what to do, so do it. We'll see you tomorrow.